Let's meet at the library. Okay.
Hi everyone, it's Julia and welcome back to my channel. Today we are here to talk about my July TBR. As we all know, I hate having attainable goals. I like to be unrealistic and overly optimistic. So let's buckle up and I'll talk to you about all the things that for some reason I think I can read in just 1 month. That includes 4 different readathons and 1 book club and also just like my regular monthly goals. I don't know what's wrong with me either. Let's dive in. So as you know, every month of this year I've been playing like a different TBR game or challenge to try to spice things up, and it's been really fun. This month I don't have an actual game, but I am completing a challenge that I started in 2018. Oof. Yeah. So in 2018, which I think like 2017 and 2018, that school year, was my first year outside of college where I was teaching and I had my first preschool class. And so I made a list of 30 books that I chose the books, but I put them in order randomly, and I let every preschooler pick a number 1 through 30, and they gave me a TBR. I am proud to say I have finished most of it, but considering my goal was to finish it within the year of 2018, didn't do so great with that part. It's fine. So my goal for the month of July is to finish up the books that remain on that preschool TBR, and luckily they kind of fit in with some of these readathons. So let's talk about those first. I will link up above and in the description box the original video if you want to see all the books that they picked, and once I finish these ones, I do intend to do a video talking about all of them and my thoughts that I ended up having on these books, which is 19 books. And guess what? I only have 3 of them left. Too bad they're giant. So the first book we have for my preschooler picks TBR is Walt Disney, The Triumph of the American Imagination by Neil Gabler. This is big. As you can see, I put tabs because I was like, oh, I'll read X number of pages a day. Clearly I blew it, but I did make it 135 pages into this one, and actually a lot of this back stuff is like appendix. So really it's only 600 something pages, but this is the densest, heaviest book. Like literally, like it's dense in terms of text, but it's just like so heavy and I don't know why. But anyways, I'll continue learning about Walt Disney. Like I said in my original video, not a perfect person, but one whose legacy I'm very interested in, very invested. I did the Disney College program. I am a big Disney fan. So we're gonna continue this one. The second book we have for my preschooler picks is Women of Will. I can't believe I've owned this book for as long as I have and haven't read it yet. This is a book all about female characters in Shakespeare plays. Archetypes, tropes, interpretations. Like this is, I don't think there's ever been a nonfiction book more up my alley than this one. Thank you, Tina Packer. And this one looks big, but it's only like 200-ish pages, so yes. And clearly we're gonna tie this into some other things shortly. And the last book from my preschoolers TBR is Wolf Hall by Hilary Mantel. Again, nice and big. I have started this one on audiobook, so we're a little bit into this. I've also watched the miniseries for this, which I really liked. Wolf Hall is, well, it's about the Tudors, but it's focused around Thomas Cromwell, who was like an advisor to the king, and he kind of helped with Anne Boleyn's ascent and descent. So we'll see a lot of her. It's fun. Love me some Boleyn drama. Yeah, and this has won the Man Booker Prize, so it's supposed to be good, right? Okay, next let's talk about All the World's a Stage, which is the Shakespeare-themed readathon that I'm co-hosting this month. It's so exciting. So I obviously am going to be following the advanced prompts because I am so confident in my abilities. Whatever. So the first thing is to read an adaptation or play or whatever that's in like your least favorite genre, or the one you're least comfortable with. I don't remember what the exact prompt is. I should have written it down. I didn't write it down. We're gonna live with it. And so I have The Taming of the Shrew. Not my fave. I read it in college. Think then I was like, 3 stars. I'm curious how I'm gonna feel about it now. I had like one guy in my class who was like, well, really, Shakespeare's being ironic, and he was like a theater major, and I was like, I think he's being sexist, but that's cool. You're entitled to your wrong opinion. So we'll see if I interpret this as a parody or if I still think it's pretty literal, but yeah. And this is one of the beginner challenges, but I might watch Kiss Me Kate, which is one of my favorite musicals, and it's like based on The Taming of the Shrew, but also it's one of those stories that's like we're doing the play and our lives are paralleling the play, and I love that so much. It's so good. But I don't want to watch like the movie from like the 40s or whatever. When is that movie made? I don't know. Probably like the 50s. I want to watch like the filmed Broadway one because it's so good. Anyways, I digress. I'm going to read The Taming of the Shrew, which if you don't know, sorry, I feel like I never talk about Shakespeare synopses because I assume that people know them. Why do I do that? If you don't know, The Taming of the Shrew is about a woman named Catherine and her younger sister Bianca, and her dad wants to marry them off, and all these suitors are like, oh, Bianca, Bianca, you're so beautiful, oh, you're so sweet, oh, I want to marry you, Bianca, and he's like, well, I can't marry my younger daughter until I marry my older daughter, and everyone's like, ooh, Catherine, oh, she's kind of a bitch. And then this guy Petruchio shows up and he's awful, and he's like, I want to marry a wealthy woman. I'm going to tame this shrew. And then it happens. So that's that. Then for a speculative retelling, this is kind of cheating. All of my books are kind of cheating. It's fine. I'm co-hosting the Readathon. Rules are just suggestions. This is Miranda and Caliban by Jacqueline Carey. Yeah, Jacqueline Carey. And so this will have magic in it because Miranda's father can do magic. But I don't know if that really makes it a speculative retelling because that's already in the play. But anyways, I think it's romantic. And I'm into it. I really enjoyed Miranda in Milan, which was a very different retelling of The Tempest than this, but I'm hoping to like it equally as much in different ways, and I think this cover is stunning. I'm obsessed with this cover, and I just want you all to know that. And for some reason, I can't remember the third prompt off the top of my head. I think it's to read a period-appropriate retelling. Something like that. I'll put it up here if I'm wrong. But I have An Assassin's Guide to Love and Treason by Virginia Becker, not sure. Like, you don't even understand. I pre-ordered this book because I'm so obsessed with the idea of it, and I still haven't read it. It's absurd. You know the movie Shakespeare in Love? Imagine that, but like also it's Mr. and Mrs. Smith. So I'm pretty sure the deal is like this girl is like supposed to be spying or trying to kill someone. Okay, so her father's been killed, but he was involved in a murder plot against the Queen, so she disguises herself as a boy, travels to London to fulfill her father's mission, and in doing so, she auditions for William Shakespeare's newest play, which is supposed to be performed in front of the Queen, so that's like her opportunity. But, you know, of course, there's going to be this guy, and he is a young spy for the Queen, and they're cast opposite each other as the play's leads, and it's going to be so good. I love putting on a play in a book, and it's literally a Shakespeare play. Like, it's not even like they're putting on a Shakespeare play. It's like literally Shakespeare is here, and they're putting on the play. Has there ever been a book that sounded more up my alley? I doubt it. And then for the bonus challenges, I'm going to be using things that are already on my TBR, a nonfiction about Shakespeare. I'm counting this as like source material for one of Shakespeare's plays because he has a play about Henry VIII. Like I said, the rules are just suggestions. And also I can't remember the third challenge. Oh, it's to read 3 different genres or 3 different plays, and I'm definitely doing that. So another very exciting thing that's happening this month is Keep It Classic Book Club is back. We're back, we're back, we're back. And in support of All the World's a Page, ladies, you're so cute, we decided to read a Shakespeare play, and the one that won the most votes on Instagram and Twitter combined was A Midsummer Night's Dream, which is literally one of my favorite Shakespeare plays, the first one I ever saw, to my knowledge, and the first one I read independently, actually the first one I read, period. Amazing. I love this play so much. It is my entire heart and soul, and I would give anything to play Helena. So, casting directors, I'm 5'9" and I'm ready to be desperate. She's tall, that's a point in the book. Anyways, A Midsummer Night's Dream is about 4 lovers who get all mixed up because of some fairy magic, because fairies, the fairy king and queen, are like trying to get back at each other because they're fighting over this changeling child, and then also there's this group of actors and they're trying to put on a play, and then it all intermingles and it's the greatest. A Midsummer Night's Dream. So another readathon that I'm participating in is the Totally Spiesathon, which I loved Totally Spies growing up. I watched that show all the time, so what a fun concept. I love it so much. And so the way the Totally Spiesathon works is it has like a game board, I guess, that was inspired by one of a video game that the show had that I didn't even know about. It's fine. And so I pre-rolled and I got all my prompts. So the first one is to read something that involves music or a band, and I chose Archie 1955, which is obviously an Archie comic, but it's set in the 50s and it's kind of about the birth of rock and roll. And spoiler alert, because I'm filming this on the 4th, I've already read it. Very cute. You'll hear more in my wrap up, but there we have it. The next prompt I got was read a book with a sassy main character. We're gonna circle back to the shrew, and we've covered that. The third prompt I landed on was to read a fantasy book by an author of color, and so I'm going to be finally listening to Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. Is that her name? I hope so. I own this audiobook. I've been meaning to listen to it, but then it was getting mixed reviews and I was like, I don't know, but it's finally time. It's happening. So I'm hopeful I'll like it. I've heard things that it's like a little bit like Avatar, and I love Avatar, so here's hoping. The fourth prompt I landed on is very fun. It was to have another member of your team pick a book for you. So I'm on Team Sam. We love an intellectual, and so is Nana. So I just shot her a message over on Twitter and I was like, hey, pick a book for me. And little did she know, she literally picked one of my favorite books that I read last year for the first time and became obsessed with. It's Star-Crossed by Barbara D. She was like, do you know this book? Have you read it? And I was like, yes, I love it and I'll reread it. Don't pick anything else. So I'm very happy about this. This book is so cute. So this is a middle grade book about a girl named Maddie, and her school is putting on Romeo and Juliet. How many times can I experience this trope in 1 month? Infinite, if we're being honest. I could just experience that trope for the rest of my life, forever. But she's got like this crush on this boy, and then she's like not so sure, and then she's got this crush on this new girl in school, and she's like figuring out her identity and figuring out how much she loves Shakespeare, and all of it just culminates, and the friend group is really cute, and I love like the cast bonding and just all of it. So sweet, and I'm really excited to reread this. And this, other than Shakespeare, this might be my first reread of 2020. Ay caramba. Okay. And then the final prompt I landed on, I actually haven't picked yet. It was to read the first page of 9 different books and pick the one that interests you the least. So if I make it to this prompt, I'm just going to pick 9 books that I'm like feeling like I might be in the mood for, and then do that little try a page thing. So that's a mystery book. We'll see. It should be fun. So the next readathon I'm participating in is Becca's Bookopoly-a-thon. So thrilled this is happening. I can't wait for like the longer version she has coming. Ugh, what a joy. I think Becca's mind is like on a different plane than mine. She's amazing. But anyways, the first prompt, she did 2 rolls and you got to choose. So I did the chance card and I got Life is Strange Volume 1, which I'm going to read as an ebook. I know nothing about Life is Strange. I know it's a video game that I've never played, but I've heard generally good things about. And so I'm going to pick up the first volume of the graphic novel and see what I think of it. Who knows? And then there should be 4 more prompts that weekend of the 11th. Yeah, the 11th and the 12th, but we don't know them yet. She's going to roll them every 12 hours, which stresses me out. And Becca, why would you do that to me? I'm a planner. I can't. It's fine. It's fine. And the final readathon that I'm going to be participating in this month is, of course, the Reading Rush. This was, fun fact, my first ever readathon that I participated in, and it was before I joined BookTube. Who's lighting off fireworks? It's daylight. You can't see them. Knock it off. So usually for the Reading Rush, I would go nuts and pick 1 book for every prompt, but we've got some intimidating books on this TBR. So what we're gonna do is make them work. So I'm gonna read this so I don't mess it up. So I'm only gonna have 2 books on my Reading Rush TBR. I feel a hair. One of them is A Midsummer Night's Dream, which I'm using for the first book you touch. I just picked it up. I was like, there's my books. I'm gonna read that one. I just chose it manually. To read somewhere else. So I don't know, maybe I'll like read in the office or somewhere I don't usually read in my house. And, read a book set in a different continent. They are in Athens. So that's Greece. I don't live there. And then the other book that I want to read for the Reading Rush is also a play. It is The Last Wife by Kate Hennig. I just read another play by her. Spoiler alert for when you finally see my June wrap up. I loved it. So I'm really excited about it. All her plays are like very historical and feminist and just things we love. So The Last Wife is about Catherine Parr, who was the last wife of Henry VIII. Getting a lot of like Elizabethan and Tudor action in this TBR. Very on brand. Wow. So I'm reading this for the Birthstone color challenge. I'm an April baby, so like diamond. I don't know, like white, gray, what do you want to call it? But it's like a whitish, mostly with a little bit of gray monochrome cover, so I think it counts. Also, read a book that starts with The Last Wife. I'm also using it for the challenge of read something that you've already seen the movie adaptation of, and again, I'm like cheating. I haven't seen the actual play of The Last Wife, but I've seen my fair share of Tudor media, okay? Like, I've watched many interpretations of this story. I know who Catherine Parr is, and I think it counts. Fight me. I don't want Ariel Bissett to fight me. I really like her. Don't fight me, Ariel. And then also I'm using it for read a genre you want to read more of. I want to read more non-Shakespeare plays because I tend to love most plays that I read. I just don't read a lot of modern plays. I tend to read Shakespeare plays. So let's mix it up. Okay, we're almost done. I'm so sorry. I can't stop talking. Okay, so my final 2 things that I haven't accounted for yet are to read my oldest TBR book, which is something I just do every month, and then also to read a non-Shakespeare classic, which for some reason amongst all these books I don't have. So for my non-Shakespeare classic, I'm going to be picking up the selected poetry of the Bronte sisters. I'm excited about this. I've read Wuthering Heights and Jane Eyre, but that's it from the Brontes. So I'm excited to experience their writing in a different way with some poetry. And then my oldest TBR book for the month is Beautiful Darkness by Cami Garcia and Margaret Stoll. This is the second book in the Castor Chronicles, I think is what the series is called. The first book is Beautiful Creatures, which I liked okay. I read it quite a few years ago now. But I love the movie, and so I'm like curious kind of where the series goes. I'm very invested in Lena and Ethan together. But I forget, I think it's from Ethan's point of view, which I don't like as much. We'll see. I'll probably do this one on audiobook. It's kind of chunky. So there we have it. Those are the 15 books I think I'm going to be reading in July. Why do I think I'm capable of this? I don't know, but you know. You may say I'm a dreamer. Anyways, be sure to hit that subscribe button to become a Bardinator. Just kidding. I don't have a name for my subscribers, and if I did, it would not be Bardinators. But also follow me on Twitter and Instagram. My links will be down below because it's fun to keep up that way. I've got a Twitter thread pinned all about my readathon progress this month, so that will hold me accountable and you'll see how I'm doing. And also on Instagram, you'll see I'm pretty active on stories, and so you'll get some insight into how I'm feeling about these books. Leave a comment down below and tell me how many or what readathons you are participating in this month. There's so many good ones. There's so many good readathons. Everyone is just like on top of their readathon game, and kudos. Thank you all so much for watching, and you'll see more from me soon. Bye!